Welcome to Shaping African Conversations. I am Lorna Irungu-Macharia. Today we're going to talk about trust and business and what the correlation is. Let me start with a bit of a statistic. Out of the top 5 fastest growing economies globally, 2 are in Africa. The number 1 slot is held by Ethiopia, and the number 5 slot is held by Tanzania. Now, do you trust that figure? Do you believe me? What if I told you that that's according to the World Bank and the World Economic Forum? That makes a difference because you trust them. What is driving this? Apart from what we already know, they're both countries that are reaching resources, there's a lot of infrastructure development happening, there's been changes in leadership. What else is happening there? What should we be looking at? What should we be paying attention to? Data and information are becoming more and more critical in decision making because we trust the numbers, we trust the information. As the world has gone through a trust crisis over the last couple of years, and very much so over the last 18 months or so, because of proliferation of information, because of different sources coming in, because of growth, rapid growth of platforms where everyone can say anything, there seems to be a pullback into wanting to know what the experts say, what the professionals think, what the accredited institutions are saying. Are they being trustworthy? Trust is a currency. Trust is what we peddle in when we make decisions, and we have to believe that the other person is coming on the table with something that is actually true. Why is this important for business? Why is it important for East Africa? Why is it important for Africa now? In a world where you're being bombarded with information and messages from very different places, you need to believe in one thing. Something needs to happen to be able to get you to trust in the messaging that's coming through. In the last video, I'd talked about the fact that, we've had scandals, we've had issues with our information being out there. This is only going to get more. We're only going to create more platforms. We're only going to create more avenues to share information. How are we protecting ourselves? And what is the key thing that's going to make the switch? I strongly believe that businesses, organizations, institutions, and even governments who become most trustworthy with what they have and what they're providing will rise to the top. This, you can bank. You can trust me on that piece of information. And why do I say that? I say that because we're talking about Cambridge Analytica, for example. The information that they were probably peddling in data mining and had been getting people's data had been out there for a very long time. But it took trusted institutions to run that story as a team for it to become believable, for legal action to be taken, for people to take pause and say, hey, wait a minute, you are guilty. That did not happen when anyone was saying it. That happened when a credible institution put their name behind it and said, you can trust us on this. In business, more and more people want to know that they can trust what you are selling, what you are saying. Now, who's a trust holder? Who do people look to when they want to hear that information? A lot of information and research points to the fact that CEOs and leadership are the key holders of this. We want to believe that the person in charge is being honest. This goes to nations, it goes to countries, it goes to presidents, it goes to policy. I have been looking at different businesses and organizations and asking myself why I trust them. Do you trust the Gina Din Group when we say we can deliver? And that's a question that people ask me. Why are you joining Gina Din Group? What is it for you? And I said, 65 awards over the last 20 years, consistency, credibility, being able to handle business well. I trust her when she says, we're going to do this. Who do you trust? And why do you trust them? Edelman PR is a global PR firm that actually has been running a trust barometer globally for 18 years. In this, they have looked at every year, they've had a different theme that they've looked at, and they've looked at it from a global perspective. We are partnering with Edelman Group to present the first ever East African Trust Barometer. We will be sharing those results on the 18th of April, and we're going to make those results public. And what for me is very interesting is the impact trust has not just on business, but also on growth, on sustainability, on impact, on investors, on people wanting to come and spend their money. There's been an interesting shift as to organizations and countries who've held a lot of trust and it's slipping. And you have to ask why. And for me, why I'm excited about this result and the indicators I'm saying is there's a lesson in there that just because people are loud and just because they're visible doesn't mean they're trusted. It means people, they're in your face, but when you want a solution, you probably will choose to go elsewhere. So as always, I want to leave you with a question. I want to leave you with a task. Which businesses do you trust? Why do you trust those businesses? Does the leadership influence your viewpoint? What lens are you wearing when you say, oh, please buy brand X? I want you to share those comments with us. Please, I would really like to hear from you. Share the brands you trust, why you trust, and the impact that the leadership of an organization or of a country, or anything. If they're leading something, do you trust them and then they're passing on that trust to the business? Or do you trust the business and it doesn't matter who is leading it? I want to engage with you on those particular issues because I'm going to be picking up on your responses and sharing them and asking a couple of very interesting guests I'm going to have over the next couple of weeks about those specific issues. But for now, I want to leave you with one thing. Trust is a currency. And trust is a currency that regardless of your background, you have. How are you using that? How are you using your currency to better your life, your business, and to be a better person in society as a whole? Please make sure you join me next time on Shaping African Conversations.